Right. So, yes, yes, recording is in progress. So this week on Movies and Minutes, I have my good friend Heather on, and we're going to talk about some new stuff that just came out this week. Um, I have to I have to preface this by saying I never know exactly who's going to get matched up to the movies that I see that week. So I find it ironic that I think everything I showed you were all like super violent movies
Yes.
to
Yes.
some degree. I'm gonna ask just like right out the gate here, what kind of movies do you like?
I pretty much stick to comedies. I have some stuff in my history that makes the heavier stuff a little bit less palatable. But I
Mm-hmm.
but I also by the time I was probably 10 or 11 years old, I had read all of the Stephen King books and all of the Bachman books that were out at the time. And I completely burnt myself out on like the horror genre. Like,
Okay.
so yeah, like by 10 or 11 years old, by 12, I was completely done with it.
But that's a written in red medium. It's not the same as seeing something jump out at you.
No, that's true. There have been a few horror movies that I've enjoyed. The Fourth Kind was a phenomenal movie.
Wow.
Because that's more
Okay.
of a psychological thriller than
Yeah.
that. But yeah, that so there are some.
Well, just like comedy, the same thing can be true for horror. You know what I mean? You get like gory, mushy horror, or you get like, mind fucky horror. Like there's all kinds.
Absolutely.
So I think the first one I sent you this week was a movie that I'm almost positive it was international. There's no way this was something that got filmed here in the US. It was called Sisu.
Yes. Yep.
So what did you think of that trailer once you saw Sisu? Like, what did it make you feel?
Um,
Or what
I
did you
thought
think it was about?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said, or what did you think it was about?
It seems to be about Nazis and a gold miner
Mm-hmm.
run into each other, and unforeseen troubles seem to befall the Nazis.
I was gonna say, who's really having the unforeseen trouble in this?
Definitely. I mean, and if you've got to cheer against anybody, it should be the Nazis.
Of course. I mean, like I would say nobody is getting upset at Nazis getting like attacked and like mauled, but I'll tell you, when I went and saw this, there were people that were walking out of the theater.
Oh, geez.
But there's a reason behind it. All right, so but before we get to that, so they run into each other. The Nazis are giving this gold prospector a hard time. Where do you think this movie goes? Like, what just because you only get to see so much in a trailer.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he's going to end up kicking total ass.
Kicking so loud.
He is going to take them all on by himself, and I feel like he's probably going to find an unexpected helper, but I don't know.
Okay. That's a pretty good guess for just watching the trailer. So Regal out in Syracuse or wherever Regals are, they do this thing once a month called Monday Mystery Movie. So they don't tell you ahead of time what the movie is. It's just something that's not out yet. But the rule of thumb is they're never supposed to be anything higher than PG-13. So that way families can like take kids to go see some mystery movie and they're not being an issue. And I don't know why, but this one slipped through the cracks because this one was not PG-13.
Yeah, no, I can imagine.
And, yeah. I definitely saw people going like, oh, and gasping and like walking out as they saw like in the first couple minutes, like him take a knife and like go through the side of like a guy's head. Like,
yes, I saw that.
Yeah. So the story behind this, and it is based on a true story of sorts. He was like a commander, like in the Finnish army, I want to say. And basically, the Nazis got his family. No big shock. They got lots of people's families, but rather than go on like a revenge mission, like they often do, he retires. He's like, I want out, and instead he decides, like you said, he becomes a gold prospector, and he finds a shit ton of gold. Like
Okay.
he's like so happy. He's like, oh my God. And he loads up his horse. And then wouldn't you know who he runs into on the side of the road? A bunch of Nazis.
Dang bunch of Nazis.
And I found this movie really appealing, not because of the killing and everything, but this guy, it was just very not typical. Like he didn't want revenge. He wanted to get his gold to the bank and he wanted his fucking money.
Yes. Yep. You've done enough. Get
So,
out of my.
Yeah.
I've had enough of.
Yep. And they add a little bit of like historical context to this, I guess, because he was such a prolific killer when he was in the army. The Russians, which were like on the border of like Nazi Finnish occupied territory,
Okay.
dubbed him Koshai the Immortal because he could not be killed. I mean, he's nothing supernatural. He just like
yeah.
whatever they put him through. So and it's weird that you bring up the helper thing. So the Nazis in one of their trucks, the ones that are like run into him, have a bunch of women detained. And eventually, when he kind of like sets his sights on like taking down that caravan, he hands the women a gun and is just like, here you go.
Nice. No, I love that. I love the inclusion of women. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They very much like showed their appreciation slash disappreciation of what the Nazis had done to them. There was one that you could kind of tell probably had done things to them that he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
If there's one unique thing about this guy that you could name in this movie, I mean, I know you haven't seen it, but like if you had to like take a guess, what do you think there would be? There was something very unique in this that most films don't normally do.
Like in what way? About a character?
Okay. Something that I haven't just said already too. So almost kind of like eliminated options for you.
Is he gay?
He had a wife and a daughter, but I mean, yeah, that doesn't necessarily preclude being gay.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. I don't know. That's my only guess.
He had only one spoken line through the entire film.
No way.
At the very end, he clanks his gold down on the like counter at like a bank in some city, and he's like, "Big bills, they won't be so heavy to carry."
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And
so,
definitely.
Yeah. Who were you gonna say?
That's it. I was just gonna say I'm definitely intrigued. It sounds like it's going to be a really good movie.
Yeah. So it's official release here is Friday. This Friday coming up. I think they said that it came out in like January in Finland, and then maybe like last year at Sundance.
Oh, okay.
So yes, primarily comedy. Do you think it's something you would watch?
I do. It is not something that probably popped up on my radar. But it was enticing enough that I am very interested. And there did seem to be a comedic bend to it that kind of added to the interest.
If by comedic we mean like dark humor, like if we're laughing at the death of Nazis, maybe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I love the inclusion of the women. That's awesome.
It's like a solid like 6 women at one point you see kind of like stand in a row, you know, with like guns and weapons, like ready to like take out Nazis. It was a pretty nice shot.
Nice. Surprisingly enough, I would probably watch it. I will probably watch it when it comes out, when it hits a streaming service.
Which at the rate things are going, they usually last about 3 weeks in the theater now before you could like buy it on Vudu.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it is something I would be interested in watching.
I'm glad to make a believer out of the comedy lover.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to think. What were the other 2 that I sent you? I know
Covenant, which
there we go.
I've seen trailers for.
Okay.
And and the other one was
Evil Dead Rise.
Yes.
Let's save Covenant for last. Let's stick on this like bloody horror trail at the moment. Okay. Evil Dead Rise. So first question first on this. it's not a sequel per se, but it's definitely in a line of films that share a name with it.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any of them?
No. Nope.
Okay.
Heard of them, never seen any.
Okay. What was your takeaway from that trailer?
It seemed like a lot of typical horror stuff. Yeah.
Plot. What did you think it was about?
Seemed like three friends, two sisters, right? It was two sisters and a friend, and they were the one gets like the plague, some mutant fungus thing. Whatever's making them kill. I don't know. Whatever it is that's making them kill.
Mutant fungus. You sound like you're describing The Last of Us.
Yeah, I've not seen that either. I've heard of that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, whatever it is that's making them kill. It seems like and I believe she took out the two others. Did she take out the two others?
When you say take out, you mean?
I'm having trouble. I'll be honest. I'm having trouble remembering the plot line on that one.
Okay.
But it seems to me that there were three people, and the one got the bad juju, and the bad juju, and she seemed like she was going to be the one that was going to cause the trouble.
So all right. The franchise itself is based around the Book of the Dead. Like people opening the book, reading stuff from the book, letting loose like spirits that like take over people, that sort of thing. And this one kind of it did the same idea, but it kind of moved the setting, because most of the other ones have all taken place in like the cabins in the woods type situations. So they're like, hey, let's try it in the city for once. You were right, there were two sisters. There's two sisters, but it was basically one sister is like I don't know, she's like the roadie for, insert heavy metal rock band. She like traveled the world. The other sister is like a mom. Like all the other characters in the movie were her kids. So basically, I think we end up finding out it's LA. There's an earthquake. There's an earthquake at some point, and like the kids like kind of like drop into this like, I don't know. It looks like a crypt. It's like a tomb surrounded by like crucifixes, like, like all hanging down. Like, hey, this is a big red flag. Don't pass through here. Well, what do we think happens next?
Of course, you have to pass. You have to go check it out.
Yeah. Earthquake breaks open this thing into the secret crypt with a bunch of clearly things trying to ward me away. Let me go closer.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, they push open like a slab, and they find a copy of the Book of the Dead. It's called the Necronomicon. They find some vinyls. Cool, let's add to the vinyl collection. The vinyls are recordings of priests that like messed with the book maybe like 50 years prior, but the priests for some reason recorded themselves saying the things that brought the stuff out of the book.
Oh, nice. So they brought it back.
Yeah, let's play the vinyl. And yeah, so basically like it infects their mother, and then like basically as the mother kills other people, it sort of infects them. So it's like a cross between like possessed people and like zombies. But they like talk, and they know stuff, and they like say things that make you feel bad.
Oh, okay.
Well, like they
so
like
they're making hurtful in addition to being deadly, and all right,
exactly. They'll pull up the info that they know about you, like you're a shitty mom, or ha, you're never gonna have kids, you're barren, like just yeah.
All right.
So now giving you some like backstory, some context here. We're in this apartment. We got a mom who definitely gets possessed. We get some kids. We got her sister. The apartment building's got some people in it too. What do you think? What do you think happens? If you had to guess.
If I had to guess, somebody that you like is going to end up living, but somebody else that you like the other people that you like are going to end up dying. But there's going to be somebody that you like that you're cheering for that is going to put a stop to it somehow, or at least stall it.
Okay. You're not wrong. There's definitely some amount of deaths. There's some amount of survival. I think for the purposes of our audience, I'm not going to spoil who lives and who dies. I will say this. Unlike you were talking about like it's kind of typical horror. Unlike most horror movies, there's not really a resolution.
Okay.
Everything doesn't get tied up in a neat little bow, which kind of shocked me a little bit, but I was happy. I was like, wow, okay, we're gonna, turn left instead of the typical right.
Okay.
So, but yeah, for anybody who's out there who wants to catch this movie, just know that you're not gonna necessarily get a happily ever after. Evil Dead's not very well known for that anyway, but they kind of sort of stick to their chops when it comes to that. I have to ask as part of my normal shtick. Do you think that this is something you would watch? What turned you away? All the blood and gore?
Oh no, that doesn't bother me in the least. That doesn't bother me at all. Okay. No, I have zero interest in your regular horror films. Just like what I get down
what kind of horror would convince you? I know you said you like the psychological, but
I like
what
type thrillers. Yeah.
Okay. I'll keep you in mind the next time I see one coming up on the docket.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, perfect example is The Fourth Kind. Yes, there were aliens and stuff, but there was so much more to it. There was a good.
What about that one with I don't know if it's considered horror or not. It might be more suspense than anything. What about was it the number? Was it 7?
Oh, never. I have seen trailers for it.
Okay. Yeah, that one's like suspensey, but there's some killing going on. Or maybe the number 23 with Jim Carrey. Did you ever see that one? That's like the one time he ever did a horror movie.
Nope, that one doesn't sound familiar.
No,
but I like him when he's more serious. I don't like his comedy. But like Eternal Sunshine, I think he's phenomenal.
Oh yeah, that one was so sad though.
Oh my God, right? Sorry, I'm getting off.
No, you're fine. No, I mean that's part of the fun. I mean, this is all about movies, so I will never like slap somebody's hand for talking about a movie. So the last one, which, man, this is a real tough one for me because I'm a big horror person.
Yeah.
So like Evil Dead and as a series, I got brought up on that. So I definitely I have a heavy bias towards that one this week, but I think maybe just in terms of like quality of film, I think The Covenant might be my winner this week. But before we get to why, you said you saw the trailer for that, or maybe you'd already seen the trailer for it before too.
Yes, and every time it kind of stops me and I watch it.
All right.
Instead of fast through it.
Tell me about The Covenant. What's The Covenant about?
I believe it's Afghanistan, and one of the locals is translating for them. And guys would have ended up dead, and the translator saves his life. And I believe they go on a mission to try to transport him and his family out of the area, because now the bad guys are after him.
Yeah, you're pretty spot on there.
I a lot of trailers.
So first things first, this one's a Guy Ritchie movie, which, like, if you've ever seen Guy Ritchie movies, they're all, I can't think of a bad Guy Ritchie movie, and I tried. I really did. Did you know he did the most recent live action Aladdin movie too?
Oh, he did not. No.
Yeah, it was his choice to pick Will Smith as the genie, which, good or bad for Will Smith lately, he was not a bad genie.
Yeah.
So yeah, this movie was about So we had Jake Gyllenhaal as the star. He was heading up a unit that basically was going around Afghanistan during the occupation, trying to find IED factories, like specifically. And they're and it's funny you said translator, because in the movie he goes out of his way. It's like a little bit of a running joke. He's like, you're here to translate. He's like, no, sir, I'm here to interpret. I'm your interpreter. Because like he tries to interpret some situations to like, hey, don't do this. This is gonna happen, and they don't listen. He's like, kind of like, I was trying to interpret for you.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
Cultural
difference. And
there's definitely some like character pushback between. So it's what's his name? Jake Gyllenhaal's character is John Kinley, and his translator or his interpreter is Ahmed. And essentially, there's kind of one of those situations where they finally find one of these IED factories, and it's like a group of 10 guys, but like they're, it's like a trap. The guys get killed, all except Ahmed and John Kinley, and they're like 100 kilometers from their base.
Oh wow!
So like, you got the Taliban looking for you. However many guys they got, it might as well be an unlimited number. And you've got John Kinley hurt, and Ahmed's basically like dragging him on like a makeshift like sled across like all kinds of terrain, trying to evade Taliban stuff. And he does all that. They get there, and Jake Gyllenhaal gets brought home. He's hurt, so he probably gets his Medal of like Honor, and he's recovering and all that. And Ahmed just basically has to go fend for himself, has to go back to his wife and his kid, and they have to keep moving because they're basically Taliban's most wanted, number one. And the thing about this movie, like all this so far seems kind of like by the numbers. They show you some stuff that I think in a normal movie they would cut out as like mundane, but it's really like heavy character stuff that like you get kind of entrenched in. So like once he's back on his feet and finds out they haven't done anything for Ahmed, he's trying to reach out to every branch of government, all these people. Like they're supposed to be giving the interpreters visas. That's like their trade-off for doing it. So when it's like, oh hey, yeah, we didn't do that, he's barking up every tree, and it's like a slow progression. They're like, day 1 he makes like a civil phone call, day 10 it's a little bit more aggressive, and by like day 39 he's drunk, like threatening like the people on the other end, like, you don't get this guy a visa, I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna, like it's really like, yeah, it's kind of funny, but it's also like heartbreaking, like,
yeah,
because some people could just like be like, well, I'm out, I'm done, I don't have to worry about that guy.
Yeah.
And he's trying to go to bat for him, and the military won't send him back to help him, but he does kind of pull the "I saved your life" card to his boss, and he's like, you get them visas, I don't care how, I'm going back there to find him. And yeah, it's like a whole thing, and it's just really, the action's cool, the suspense is cool. There was a lot of moments like where I'm on the edge of my seat, like waiting like, oh my god, is the Taliban gonna find them, like this and that, like it's very like, and it's it was just a very like emotional watch.
Yeah, imagine.
They don't say that these two characters specifically were based on real characters, but I think Guy Ritchie, at the end, they start showing pictures of service members with their interpreters, and I think it was more like a story about the these type of people in general,
kind of an homage.
Yeah. So because I was hoping at first they were going to do the thing where they like in like biopics where they like cut away and show you like the real John Kinley and Ahmed, but they didn't. So Yeah, so you had already seen a trailer. You saw some more. You saw another one from what I sent you. I mean, and you seemed like you knew kind of what was going on with this. Is it because you were like kind of intently paying attention? Was that something that you think that you'd want to watch?
Yeah, it is not my usual pick, but I I was probably doing something and couldn't fast forward through a trailer. So
Mm-hmm.
I was hearing it and I'm like, oh, okay, this sounds interesting. And like I said, I caught myself watching the trailer each time it would come on between my whatever show I happened to be streaming. So yeah,
Right.
yeah. So that is definitely one that I'm interested in seeing.
Okay. What about it do you think like is making you interested in it?
Um,
Excuse me.
I particularly like what it says about being a good person. Um, People are so quick, especially now, to jump on each other about their differences and to hate someone because of their differences. And this guy may not have particularly liked the servicemen, but he did his job and he was doing what he was supposed to do, and then he went above and beyond despite, and then the servicemen went above and beyond. So at the root of it, they both just had good hearts. They were both good people. And I won't say they were good people, but there was some good in them, that they were willing to go above and beyond for someone else that they really didn't know. And that was
Oh
different.
yeah.
That was very different.
I,
So
I was gonna say. I mean, they definitely both left a lot of bodies behind. So
yeah,
good,
yeah,
good,
yeah. Good is
but
maybe not.
yeah, no, good to each other.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing that one.
One of the things that they point out during it too, which they never like come back and circle around back to, but I think it's sort of just one of those things that you're supposed to notice is when the like Afghanis are around like the US, they're talking about how they kind of shit talk the Afghanis, not necessarily the interpreters, but like they're a bunch of filthy animals, whatever. And then when it kind of circles the other way when they're on the run, and like you kind of hear like Taliban commanders like over like loudspeakers like saying things like they're filthy animals, they're dogs, and the people that help them are filthy animals and dogs. And it's kind of just like the bad ones see each other the same way, and then the good ones saw each other the same way,
Mhm.
in that like he's like you know not only was it showing like the phone call progressions when he was back in the US, but it showed the like it got progressively harder for him to like live his life. Like he couldn't sleep, he couldn't like spend time with his family in like a productive way because he just like the guilt, I'm assuming, was weighing him down.
Yeah.
So yeah. um Now, I didn't ask this for the other two, and I mean, like, I know you said you expressed interest in watching this. Or any of the ones that you were interested in, things that you would go see, like theatrically.
Go to the theater. No,
Go to the theater.
probably not. Way too
No.
cold.
Oh my God, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah, I
have
remember.
to get if I go to the theater.
I remember. I remember.
Yeah, that's sounds like it. Yeah.
Um, the only thing I will tell you, and I mean, it only applies to one type of theater, at least for us locally, is if you ever watch anything in the MXC,
Mhm.
the those ones have the adjustable temperature on the seats.
Yes, mine was broken. The time we went, mine was, yeah. So I was still freezing, but I had my blanket. So
Yeah,
it wasn't.
but they work on other ones, I swear. Because I mean, there have been times where like my butt like turns it on, and I'm like, why is my booty so warm? Oh wait, but
See, that would be a saving grace for me. So yeah, I I might go see the Covenant. That's one that I would at least marginally consider going to see. The other one I would probably watch when it comes to Hulu or
yeah, yeah. So I mean, like in order, this week, the way I ended up breaking these one down is Sisu. I gave 4 out of 5 to, um, just because there's some like weirdness when you watch international films. It could just be me, but like there's context and like motivation, and some stuff doesn't always translate when especially when you have a guy who doesn't speak the whole movie.
Mhm.
Um, Evil Dead, as far as a horror movie goes, I definitely gave it a 5 because it did what it needed to do as a horror film. Whether or not we like horror is another story. And then the Covenant definitely got a 5. I mean, that movie's it's I would be shocked if Gyllenhaal didn't get some sort of award recognition for this one.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yep. So my homework is to pay attention for any like suspenseful mind fucky horrors for you, all right? And I guess your homework is when you get around to seeing the Covenant or Sisu, let me know what you thought of it, all right?
I definitely will.
All right. Well, thank you for being on here today with me. It's been a pleasure. And guess what? It wasn't that scary, was it? It was just like having a talk with a friend.
I wasn't horribly awkward, I don't think. I don't know. I hope.
No, just the normal amount of awkward that we are. No, just kidding.
Good.
But I will catch you next time. And to the viewers, thanks for watching Movies in Minutes.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.